In September of 2020, I had one of the most amazing experiences I have ever had. I was on the east coast of Florida during a massive migration, and the stuff that happened for a couple of days was just absolutely incredible. I've never really seen anything like it, and I had my A9 and my A7R IV with me there to capture all the action, and I can't wait to share it with you. So come on, let's go. As that fiery ball starts its daily journey across the sky, a single reddish egret stands in the soft sand as the ocean mist takes on the magnificent colors of the rising sun. This bird isn't alone either. Already Turnstone has found the perfect place to catch some early morning sun. And this snowy egret has decided that the view is a little better from a higher outcropping of rock. The reddish egret decides to join the snowy by getting a better vantage point as well. Sunrise and birds on the beach. Who could complain? The first bird to step out into the early morning light is this elegant looking yellow-crowned night heron. I don't see these birds that often, so I take this opportunity to get some shots, and I just love how the soft early morning light illuminates this bird. Nothing like a good beak cleaning in the frothy ocean waves. I wait for a wave to rise behind the bird, and I grab a shot. I love the colors the wave makes in the background. Those soft, tranquil blues accented with hints of white, and those suspended water drops falling from the bird's beak add a little bit to the story. But these birds aren't here for the surf, sand, and fresh ocean air. They are here for this. A massive migration that has fish exploding from the water like fireworks in the night sky. These fish are mullet, and several large schools have just reached the area. Right behind them, huge schools of game fish gobbling them up by the dozen, and when the mullet try to escape by hurling their bodies airborne, the game fish follow. Even more of the mullet have already made it to the calmer, shallower waters of the inlet. They are seeking some much-needed sanctuary, but as you can plainly see, they are not finding it. The water comes to life as the fish go flying in every direction. A school of amberjack has followed them into the shallow waters, and the feast of fresh, finicky fish is on. Things are about to get a little crazy. An osprey glides in, surveying the water below. These birds are also migrating. They just happen to be in the area at the same time. Coincidence? I don't think so. Back down on the water, and a huge school of amberjack has herded a school of mullet back along the inside of the inlet, an area where the fish are usually safe. But as you can see, that's not the case. This is a bad time to be a mullet. Another osprey joins the frenzy. This one likes what it sees and changes directions in midair. Back down below, and the amberjack are slicing through the water at incredible speeds. Their constant ambushing pressure gives the mullet no choice but to jump, and in doing so, many jump into the rocks, beaching themselves. But the birds are there waiting, and the first to score a sand-covered meal is this snowy egret. Right behind that bird is the yellow-crowned night heron. Things are starting to move very quickly. And back out on the water, the commotion of the fish has drawn two snowy egret out into the shallows where they desperately stab at the fish, but miss. And one is trying its very best to walk on water, and it misses the fish as well. Back out in the ocean, and another wave washes into shore, and with it, another batch of fish. The calmer waters at the mouth of the inlet are now filled with so many fish that the entire surface of the water looks as if it's alive. Not able to ignore the wealth of fish, an osprey comes falling out of the sky, but backs out at the last second. Another osprey comes in much faster, lowers its talons, and pulls out of the dive too. Another comes in fast, thrusts its talons out, and hits the water with a huge splash. The osprey rises out of the water with nothing to show for its efforts. Back on the beach side, and a young pelican is dealing with a pretty interesting problem. Its pouch is full of mullet. This is a good problem to have for the pelican. Further from shore, and the swells start getting even bigger. And with waves this size in Florida, you can bet dozens of surfers will be mixed right in with all of the mayhem that's going on. Our yellow-crowned night heron decides that surfing might be the best way to get to those fish as it tests out the fin on a local surfer's board. It then climbs on top of the surfboard and stares longingly at the ocean. Ah, that's a lot of fish out there, but this surfboard isn't going to move itself, night heron. You have to actually paddle it. Me, I'll happily stand on dry land because I know what else is swimming out there. As one of the waves reaches the end of its life, a pelican comes crashing in behind it, and right behind that, a massive 2-meter tarpon goes airborne. Tarpon love mullet, and as I patiently wait for another one to breach, another osprey comes screaming in, hits the water hard, and exits with nothing. I turn my camera back towards the area where the tarpon have been breaching, and by a stroke of pure luck, one jumps high into the air right in front of me, and I capture this amazing shot. It doesn't only highlight the explosive action, but it also reveals another element of the story. There's a lot of blood in that picture. This tarpon might be over 5 feet long, but this massive fish is also a food source for sharks. At the mouth of the inlet, another osprey comes in fast and low and just barely skims the surface of the water. Ah, success! This bird has snatched one of the mullet right off of the top. Another huge swell rolls in, and right below the surface, another big school of mullet. Right behind that, and another wave literally explodes with fish. Something has those mullet jumping incredibly high into the sky. Even the smaller waves that are closer to shore are violently exploding with fish. I have never seen anything like this. The mullet are everywhere, but whatever is chasing them still hasn't shown itself. And then I see it, that infamous fin. It emerges from the surface as the tan-colored toothy beast slices through the water. The sharks have arrived. Back in the mouth of the inlet, and another osprey comes from high in the sky. Its wings and tail steering the bird into that inevitable assaulting impact with the water, and success. This osprey takes a mullet for a bird's eye view of the area. Back on the beach, and the mullet are doing everything they can to try and escape the oncoming onslaught of predators. They are everywhere, and these fish are getting hit from the sky and from down below. The sharks are now having a feast. Back at the inlet, and another osprey comes falling out of the sky so fast that I can just barely keep it in the frame. And this is all filmed in 4 times slow motion. This bird was moving, and all of that speed ends up in a violent collision with the water, and for a brief second, the osprey is stuck in the current, but it surfaces with a nice fish in tow. Back out on the beach, and another shark has come into what I thought was safe, shallow water. It rips through the surf like a well-oiled machine, gnashing its teeth at anything in its path. Immediately to my right, and another shark surfaces in the shallows. It too slicing through the water, eating anything unlucky enough to get in its path. Directly in front of me, and another one comes to the surface and collides with yet another one, in a fury of foamy white water and helpless fish. And right behind that, a tarpon breaches behind the sharks. Oh man, this is getting crazy. Back down on the beach right in front of me, this young black skimmer has the right idea. Sitting safely on the beach and watching all of this crazy action unfolding in the shallows. I look at the bird and say, yeah, I think you've got the right idea. I'm not going anywhere near that water. And with all the fish huddled in the shallows, they only have one option, and that's to somehow try and catapult themselves over the 2-meter high waves that are now crashing into shore. They've got to get back out to sea, and that's exactly what they start doing. And as this frightening scene plays out in front of me, I can't believe the amount of sharks that start to terrorize the mullet. There's one there. There's one in the wave here. Another one right here. And one there. The fish are now easily clearing the waves, many leaping as high as 3 meters in the air as the sharks continue to chase them into the breaking surf. It's an amazing thing to see. back out in the mouth of the inlet, and another osprey comes sailing in. You can immediately tell from this bird's calculated grace that it has years of experience tucked under its feathers, and as it approaches the waterline, it quickly snatches a fish right from the surface. No need to linger when there are sharks practically everywhere. Let's grab a few shots of these impressive birds. Capturing photos of these beauties never gets old, and I always love the look of unbridled determination as they approach the waterline, talons out and ready to snatch a target from the surface. And in this shot you can really see how challenging it must be for these birds with all of the turbulent water sloshing all around them. I love that look and those talons as the bird readies itself for impact. And in shots like this one, you can actually see all of the fish just below the surface. And even if they come out of the water with nothing to show for their efforts, the shots are just as magical as the water droplets twinkle and sparkle throughout the frame. But there's nothing quite like seeing these magnificent birds getting rewarded for all of their efforts. And when they come flying at you with a mullet in their talons, and the entire school of mullet decides to leap up right behind them into the background, you'd better be ready, because shots like this don't happen that often. In fact, this is the only time I've been lucky enough to see this and capture it. It's been a long, action-packed day at the beach, and my body has no problem telling me its gripes. My shoulders are stiff, my arms are sore, my hands are weak and shaky, but another osprey comes screaming out of the sky at an insane rate of speed, and ignoring all of the aches and pains, I force my body into action. The bird hits the water with a massive splash, sending a fish into the air. Me thinking, oh, it just totally missed its target, but then it surfaces with a fish in tow. Aha, great job, bird. Oh wait a minute. This osprey has two fish, two species actually, two different kinds of fish. And as it flies right towards me, I stare in total disbelief at what looks like an osprey flying through the sky wearing a pair of skis. What an end to a simply incredible action-packed day that I won't forget anytime soon. I have been to the beach so many times in my life, but I have never been there in the thick of what's called the fall mullet migration, and that's what that was, the fall mullet run. It was one of the absolutely most amazing things I've ever seen. Stuff was happening so fast everywhere. Around all of the surfers too, all of the sharks were just, it was crazy. And all of the footage you saw on that was filmed on the Sony A9, and all of it was filmed in 4x slow motion. And some of those sharks came up so fast, even in 4x slow motion, I think if you get hit by a shark, you're gonna never know it's coming. It's gonna be like you got hit by a car. Those things were moving really fast, and they were just chomping at anything they could get their mouth or their teeth around. Did you have a favorite part in the video? Let me know in the comments below. Share this video if you thought it was any entertainment, if you liked it, if it was fun, if it was useful, or if you hated it, share it too, because that's helpful to me. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you like my shirt, you can buy those down in the description, probably somewhere else. I also have a lot of books for sale. And I do workshops too, photography workshops where you can come with me and I can teach you to photograph and stuff like that, and you can have experiences like that as well. I think that's about everything, and until next time, I'll see you later.